I've got to tell you, it's something that has stuck with me for all these years. When we first put on the conference, I was, as I mentioned, pretty much involved with it. And there was an individual physician from Phoenix who's excellent physician, very well known in the community, who was kind enough to come down and attend, and was in attendance for our program. I believe it was a weekend program. And at the end of the program, he approached me, and he thanked me for the program. He said this was a very good program, but it really isn't going to go anywhere, he said. And that was his parting words to me.
The best conference I've ever attended for the last 25 years.
It's contributed to the physician that I am today.
It's become a much bigger event than just the CME itself.
It has improved not just in quality, but in stature as well. I was in attendance at the first Southwestern Conference on Medicine in 1991, and it was a much smaller conference, but the purpose of the conference was still the same.
The Southwestern Conference on Medicine is a primary care focused convention of experts coming to share their knowledge and give us tools to help our patients.
It initially was an opportunity to provide an educational event locally that offered CME that didn't require leaving town or a great deal of cost. It was convenient.
I believe the first year we held the conference in 1991, there were 24, 25 attendees. And they basically were Tucson docs and some folks from Phoenix.
It was either the first or the second. And Dr. Riggs had called me up, and I went out, and it was interesting. I'd really never attended a CME event before, but it reminded me kind of my high school, because there were just a few attendees, all at desks, taking notes diligently with a speaker.
We took it on. We had the opportunity to take the superstructure of a conference like this and make it part of the mission of the Tucson Osteopathic Medical Foundation.
In the early days, there was conflict whether this should be the main vehicle of the Tucson Osteopathic Medical Foundation. We are a foundation that was attempting to contribute to the Southwest medical community as well as the lay community. Determining that this was the best vehicle for the medical community was a struggle.
We had a very active education program at Tucson General where we had interns and medicine residents for the entire 50 years of its existence.
All hospitals, generally in those days, had a strong medical education program.
Graduate physicians became the backbone of osteopathic medicine in southern Arizona.
We had many osteopathic physicians who were part of the faculty of that hospital. And so all of that disappeared with the sale of that hospital.
We lost our home when the hospital closed, and so the foundation became our home. And in that process, we also realized that that continuing education of the very doctors that we trained from the beginning was as important as educating the community about us. That was the genesis of the first program.
We started out what was then Omni, I think. Then we went to the Westward Look and had many, many good years there.
They treated us very well, to the point of even expanding their capabilities in their conference room to allow us to continue to grow.
We outgrew it. And I think as the conference has grown, it's just simply had to go to other places.
I've enjoyed the meeting when it's at La Paloma, and I think it's more centrally located. It's in a beautiful setting with views of the Santa Catalina Mountains to the north and then overlooking the city of Tucson to the south.
Of all of the places the conference has been, my favorite was Marriott Star Pass. And I think because of just the, again, the level of activity that we were able to do there, and it was just a fun place to be.
It's been a lot of fun to watch the the conference grow over the years?
It's completely different experience than when I first saw it in 1991 or 92.
It has grown and matured, as most of us have, both with our gray hairs as well as with our knowledge base, hopefully. The first year we held the conference in 1991, there were 24, 25 attendees. And they basically were Tucson docs and some folks from Phoenix.
And you could go around and shake hands with every attendee and be sure that they were enjoying it.
And now we're 400 plus from 27 different states all over the country.
Since 2010, since I came on, we've jumped from just under 300 total participants to over 400 last year, and we're expecting to meet that number again this year, and that is really exciting.
That increase in registration has obviously resulted in a lot of other changes. It's given us a bigger budget, which has allowed us to develop a better and more comprehensive product as we've gone along.
Medicine has changed dramatically in 25 years. So if you're looking at the content and the breadth of what's presented, that's changed dramatically.
The biggest change in the conference over the last 25 years has been the technology in medicine, the electronic health record, and how to adapt to these changes and how to use them as tools. And I always feel like we have updates on that where it's important.
I think we did a couple of things early on that were a little bit unique in CME. One is that we had dual accreditation from both AMA and the AOA.
The conference was first co-sponsored with the University of Arizona College of Medicine, and it was an excellent sponsor. Just an excellent tie-in for the foundation.
Which, when we started out, was fairly unusual. In fact, I think it might have been exceedingly rare. I think it's still pretty unusual. There are not that many conferences where you can get Category 1 or Category 1A credit in one conference.
We're one of the few osteopathic accredited organizations in the nation to offer a dually accredited conference through the partnership with the Cleveland Clinic.
And in the process of that evolution, it's brought, I think, great educational events to the medical community, both the DO and the MD community in Tucson. We've gotten some great speakers to come in.
There have really been some not only knowledgeable speakers, but entertaining speakers.
As a layman, you know, I originally dreaded sitting through 9 hours of lectures. They turn out to be fantastic. You know, the speakers are so engaging and so much fun that I get a lot out of the lectures.
We are actually really excited to have Janice Knable, DO, back from the 1992 conference. She'll be presenting Dementia Then and Now. It's fun to see how much she has changed and how far medicine has come.
In terms of the spirit of the conference and the speakers and the focus, we really haven't changed. We are the Southwest Conference on Medicine. That's what we do.
We have been remarkably blessed with very high-quality members of the committee.
The planning committee has grown over the past 25 years as well. In 1991, there were 3 members on the planning committee.
It's a dedicated group of individuals who truly take the task of providing quality CME very seriously.
It surprises me that several health professionals will come together once a month, take time out of their day.
They help us identify topics and faculty that are going to fulfill gaps in medical professionals' current knowledge.
They come, they consider the topics that need to be discussed as an ongoing review of what's important to primary care providers.
There's a lot of interaction on the committee. Sometimes sparks fly.
They are going to conferences and they are seeing who is offering the most up-to-date information across the country.
And we've had a lot of great presenters over the years from all over the country, and some internationally known speakers and a lot of great academically based physicians who come in and give us the latest and the greatest and can bring real-world messages. Even when they come in with research data, the emphasis is on how do I take it back to the patient.
The end result is a conference that has star quality as well as a high level of medical content.
The most important thing to me is that if I go for CME, I want to be able to bring back something that helps me help my patients.
So many of the conferences seem to be esoteric breakthroughs that may affect people long way into the future. The content in this conference seems to be something people can take home right away.
The conference is so grounded in primary care and the issues of primary care that it is, to some degree, much more meaningful than the national conferences.
The object is not to reveal the latest research, but research that may actually bear on day-to-day interactions with patients.
It talks about things that we use the next day in our office, or that very day if it's one of those busy office days where we can only attend a few lectures.
Basically, every lecturer has something to share that we can use. And some of their information overlaps, and it gives me a new insight.
I know for a fact every year I go, I come back to my practice with subtle changes, some of them big, some of them small.
And there's always an opportunity to walk away with what we call pearls of knowledge that is applicable to our practice of medicine.
And when we do our job well, every single lecture essentially has a take-home gem.
The continuing medical education that these physicians receive affects every single human being who lives in the southwestern part of the country. Doctors are far more capable because of the way we do this conference. So that, to me, is the major effect of it. It ties right into the mission of the foundation.
Medicine has always been a face-to-face profession. You can do lots of things remotely, you can do lots of things via teleconferencing, but the process of providing health care has always been a face-to-face business, and the process of teaching physicians has always been a face-to-face business.
You know, one of the things about our conference that I think sets it apart, as opposed to sitting in front of your computer, is actually having a subject matter expert right in front of you.
The chance to interact with a presenter or someone who is bringing educational material to the participants in the conference is just the effect of that, the value, I don't think, can be overestimated.
And you can either ask a question during the session or you can corner them after. They're always so agreeable to taking some questions on a difficult situation you have, or just something a little beyond the lecture that you could really pick up something from.
And this conference allows these health professionals of all stripes and all kinds to intermingle and talk to each other. Something you really can't do online, because they can discuss what they hear over lunch, over coffee.
I really enjoy walking by these little knots of participants who are discussing what they just learned, and saying, I didn't know that, or I knew this, and I thought about applying it in this way. That interaction is astounding to me.
But I hope we don't lose the opportunity to have real face-to-face, resident-based, live educational opportunities as we go forward. And I hope it doesn't change. I'm realistic that there'll be less live conferences over time, but I think there'll always be a place for them. At least I hope there will.
My son, later in life, made a determination that he wanted to go into medicine, and now is in his first-year residency of internal medicine in Virginia.
My generation of physicians certainly saw it evolve. It was fun to go to the conference with my dad when I was just starting out. It's going to be fun to see what my son's response to the educational event is. I'm hoping to find out from him whether we're going to meet the next generation's expectation for CME.
It's going to be a difficult challenge to go beyond what Dr. Riggs has built. One thing I'd love to see is this conference evolve and be on the cutting edge, because I do believe that live interaction is a terrific way to learn.
I think traditionally this has been a great vehicle for my generation of physicians, but the newer generations of physicians are trying to balance their personal life along with their professional life, and they have to determine where they're going to commit their time.
So many CME credits are available online now. We're trying to bring younger and newer physicians into the fold of live CME and provide a product that is exciting and up to date and refreshing even.
The educational process is evolving, certainly, and we're finding out that the computer and online training, if you will, is becoming a bigger and bigger process for disseminating information.
So I think we really, as an organization, have to look not just a couple years ahead, but 5 and 10 years ahead, and begin to explore now what other vehicles may be best for providing education.
One of the reasons the conference will be here in 10 years is because the committee is constantly trying to stay on the edge of what's current and what's new and where is education going. So wherever education goes, I think the conference will be there and hopefully be a little bit ahead of it.
Well, the Southwestern Conference on Medicine, the Tucson Osteopathic Medical Foundation, to me is a family.
Well, first off, it's home because it is our family's conference. Most of the speakers are known to us, and they too become part of our family.
And over the years, it's become an opportunity to do not only CME, but see old friends, network with colleagues. It's become a much bigger event than just the CME itself.
Year after year, I love to see the folks walking down the hall that have seen us before. I love the smiles on their faces. I love that we're involved in making this a pleasurable and unique experience for them. And I love welcoming them all back into the family or welcoming new participants into the family that we call TOMF.
You know what I like best about this conference is that Tucson does something right. People come from all over the country to attend this conference, and we receive the most wonderful rave reviews. And it feels good to be a part of that.
It's just a real joy to go to. It's the conference I go to every year, and I think I have attended every year since we've started.
It's been the best conference I've ever attended routinely, consistently for the last 25 years.
The names that you see on your program, the Jane Powers and the Jerry Hutchinsons and Chris Halleck, John Harris, the names that you see there have been there almost every year.
The people who put on this conference are sterling medical educators in their own right.
They know us. There are mentors in some cases, as well as our associates and our friends. They know medicine. They know what we need, and I have never been disappointed in our course, and I really cannot say that about other courses that I've gone to.
You know, it's a warm feeling in my heart. You know, there may have been little bits of knowledge that I obtained when you look at individual years, but when you look back collectively at all of them, it's contributed to the physician that I am today.
I feel a lot of pride and a lot of satisfaction in knowing that this is one of many programs of the foundation, but it is the singular star program. And I think, my goodness, it has improved not just in quality, but in stature as well.
And that was his parting words to me. He said, this is probably will be a Tucson-based program because the education in the osteopathic profession takes place in Phoenix. The programs that were in Phoenix aren't there anymore. The facility that they took place in does not exist anymore. We have become the regional, if not national, site, certainly for the Southwest physicians in terms of education and primary care. And I think that's pretty memorable.